Hi everyone, Chanthony Sautano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Young Thug album, Business is Business. New record from groundbreaking and influential Atlanta vocalist and rapper Young Thug, who we haven't heard from in a minute, not since 2021's Punk, which is understandable because as of 2022, Thugger has been tied up in the court system, exactly the sort of thing that would kneecap an artist's commercial output, as it's kind of rare you get a rapper or a writer like O3 Greedo or Gucci Mane or Juice WRLD that has just so much stuff recorded in the vault that you can just release project after project after project after they are either gone or locked down. However, Young Thug has proven to be one of the more consistent and prolific artists of his generation. I have to imagine there's got to be some stuff on the cutting room floor worth releasing, which is why I think we have this new project out. It's been executive produced by Metro Boomin. I imagine Thugger's team kind of pieced this together mostly from older material. That was more or less confirmed over the weekend as a spare bar from the song Want Me Dead. I was kind of confused as potentially being a diss against the rapper Saweetie. Young Thug's Twitter account then confirmed that this wasn't true, not just because of the way he said the word sweetie in the song, but saying the track was 6 years old. So with the material on this thing being kind of leftovers, of course there's not really much on this record in regards to Thugger's current situation. I think the closest we get to that is a spare interaction between Drake and Thugger on the intro track over what sounds like a penitentiary phone call. Not long after the bar, business is business, you owe me this time, slime on your head, Nickelodeon time. Also this weird one from Thugger with a cow, sort of odd, but maybe the upside of releasing material that's on the older side of things, or, you know, just left over, is we're going to hear some stuff that's potentially unorthodox or was seen as maybe a bit too odd to put out, which is certainly the case for Money on the Dresser, where Thugger delivers a bunch of zany inflections over a quirked up trap beat. There are some simple, what sounds like carousel organ notes in the mix as well that, again, didn't expect that. And yeah, while the cut may be more of a vibe than a well-crafted song, it's still, you know, interesting to hear him in a kind of eccentric moment. I would say there's similar vibes on the track Gucci Grocery Bag, where it kind of seems like the song's appeal is mostly couched in it being slightly absurd. The refrain is quite an earworm, but I will say the verses are so understated they almost feel like just filler placeholders that might have been replaced with something bolder later down the road. However, Cars Bring Me Out is a complete and utter anthem. I'm actually kind of upset we didn't get this track earlier, especially with the sad, plucky folk melodies laced into the beat. Thugger's deep and authoritative verses on this cut show him vocally in a slightly different light than usual too. Whole thing sounds like some glamorous mafioso rap or something like that. Plus Future is a solid addition to the track too. Jonesboro doesn't have a whole lot of lyrical focus, or at least not the level of lyrical focus I would want from a song that in tone seems to be so personal and intimate, but it is still, you know, a nice nostalgic, somewhat nostalgic breath of fresh air in the track list. The distant and moody pianos on the beat are quite nice. So yeah, there's some somewhat left field and unexpected highlights on this record. And then there are other cuts that you could kind of see why Thugger and his team weren't necessarily in a rush to release them. You have some stiff and meandering performances over some very awkward and boring instrumentals, like in the case of Hellcat Kenny. Uncle M has a cool flow, but not much else. No real song developed out of this one, sadly, which is unfortunate because I do think there are some aspects of the song that are genuinely intoxicating, the instrumental for one, and some of the moments where Thugger is sliding on certain vowels or elongated notes in his flow. On Wit to Racks, I think Young Thug goes off on his intro verse, but 21 Savage and Travis Scott to follow, not as much. Their additional features later on the LP are much more interesting. Then Went Through It sees Thugger rapping in this inflection that is so insanely squeaky with tons of vocal fry on it, it's kind of a chore to listen to. And as desperately as Thugger's team and Metro Boomin try to turn the song Global Access into this big triumphant statement about Thugger being locked up and the unfairness of the American legal system and so on and so forth, and how he's, you know, being crushed because he's grade and this and that, and just the world doesn't want to see him succeed. All of which is pretty much couched in this kind of triumphant vocal intro. Yeah, as soon as that's over, we head into what is very clearly pretty underwritten track that yeah, the whole start of it was just tacked on after the fact. It's obvious. The track also ends abruptly out of nowhere. It's not even feeling all that finished overall. Yeah, I mean, as much as everybody tries to breathe some life into this very clearly older material, it still feels like just barely warmed up leftovers. While there are some weird and entertaining moments on this project here and there, it is not the cause for excitement that I hoped it would be. I'm feeling a strong 4 to a light 5 on this thing. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Young Thug, business is business forever.